World War III will break out before the year 2030. It won't begin with a massive explosion, but with decades of unresolved hatred. And the weapon of mass destruction won't be nuclear. It will be chemical, silent, invisible, and infinitely more ruthless. That was the most terrifying prophecy ever recorded from a man who claimed to be a time traveler, from the year 2062. An anonymous figure who emerged on a Japanese online forum, no name, no face, no identity. Only a trail of chilling warnings, left behind like cryptic footprints in the digital sand. And strangely, each of his predictions, over time, came true. All except one. The prophecy of war, of an apocalypse with no falling bombs, no missile trails, has yet to arrive. A silent war. Where death doesn't explode. It seeps into the air we breathe. In an era where world powers hoard nuclear arsenals like relics of deterrence. Why would someone from the future insist that the weapon to bring the world to its knees will not be atomic, but chemical? Are we standing at the edge of that future? Is 2025, the year he warned about, truly the beginning of the end? This isn't just an internet story anymore. It's a warning. And if it proves true, it may be the greatest tragedy humanity has ever faced. Chapter 1, The Origin and Mystery of 2062. No one knows who he was. No name. No photo. No contact. Just a stream of cryptic posts that suddenly appeared on a Japanese message board in November of 2010. I come from the year 2062. I can't stay long. But what I'm about to say may help save a part of humanity. At first, the internet dismissed him. Just another creepypasta, one of countless fictional tales floating in cyberspace. But unlike the rest, 2062 didn't tell stories. He gave warnings. He didn't talk about aliens. Or ancient civilizations. Or superpowers. He spoke of specifics, clear and cold. A massive earthquake would strike Japan. A tsunami would drown coastal towns. A major event would unfold in April 2016. And World War III, before 2030. Time passed. And each prediction began to come true. On March 11, 2011, just 4 months after his first post, Japan was hit by a 9.0 magnitude earthquake. It triggered a tsunami, a nuclear disaster, and claimed tens of thousands of lives. Shortly after, just as he promised, he returned. Always on time. Always brief. Always with one haunting line. I will return on. Each appearance was followed, almost without exception, by disaster. No explanations. No clarity. Just an eerie precision that became impossible to ignore. Speculation erupted. Was he an advanced AI? A military experiment? Or was he truly a man from the future? When asked how he traveled back in time, 2062 responded with only this. We use two devices, the Vicious 5000, to move forward in time. And the Plus Next 6290, to return to the past. But then, he warned. We are forbidden to interfere. Forbidden to alter historical details. Each time I appear, I am gambling with my life, because time has a way of correcting itself. That was the last time he spoke clearly about time travel technology. After that, each reappearance grew quieter, more solemn. But within that silence, fragments of the future continued to slip through. As if he were whispering to the world. Don't say I didn't warn you. Chapter 2, The Origin of War, not explosions, but decades of hatred. There will be no sirens. No formal declaration of war. No clearly marked enemy. And perhaps most chilling of all, no opening shot. According to 2062's prophecy, World War III won't begin with a sudden explosion. But with deep-rooted hatred. Buried and festering between two unnamed nations in Asia, over decades of tension, silence, and denial. He never specified which countries. But geopolitical analysts couldn't help but draw parallels to the world's current fault lines. The long-standing border disputes between China and India. The powder keg volatility of the Korean Peninsula. The unresolved tension between Taiwan and mainland China. The cold, growing friction between military alliances across the Indo-Pacific. It won't be a hot war, he said. It'll be a war that was always there, waiting. And when someone finally loses control, the trigger will pull itself. 2062 never spoke of a grand, dramatic incident. No assassinations. No coup. No terrorist attack. Instead, he described the future like an iceberg. Seemingly solid. Still. Harmless. But beneath the surface, fractures. Hairline cracks running deep into the unseen. And one day, those fractures would rupture. When that day comes, the world won't have time to react. Not because we lack the technology. Not because we lack early warning systems. But because we refuse to believe a war could begin, quietly. One morning, we'll wake up and discover. Borders are sealed. Cyberspace has become a battlefield. The air is no longer safe to breathe. And the lines between friend and foe no longer exist. There will be no warning shot. But millions will die. Not in a conventional war with tanks and flags. But in a war with no face, no form, only consequences. This war, 2062 said, won't begin with a bang. It will begin with silence. Chapter 3, Weapons of Extinction, Chemical War and the Silent Apocalypse. When we think of war, we imagine tanks rolling across burning fields. Intercontinental missiles slicing through the stratosphere. Mushroom clouds rising like gods of vengeance over broken cities. But according to 2062, this war will not be decided by nuclear weapons. It will be decided by chemicals. No bright flashes. No mushroom clouds. Only silent vapors, colorless, odorless. Capable of erasing millions, without a sound. He called it the apocalypse without noise. We've seen glimpses of this already. In Syria. In Iraq. In targeted assassinations using VX gas or the Novichok nerve agent. But according to 2062, these were only test runs. The real war, the next world war, will not use chemical weapons as a backup. They will be the main weapon. Picture this. A city sealed off, not by fire, but by toxic air. Hospitals overflowing with patients, no one knows what's killing them. A soft breeze carries not relief, but death. Chemical weapons don't need a battlefield. They turn your own environment against you. You don't know you've been exposed, until it's too late. You don't know where to run, because there is nowhere safe. But the most terrifying part. Most nations are not ready. No detection systems fast enough. No vaccines that work in real time. No shelters when the very air is your enemy. 2062 said. A nuclear bomb kills you instantly. A chemical weapon kills you slowly. Piece by piece. Physically, and psychologically. This will not be a war between countries. It will be a war between humanity, and a new form of genocide. Silent. Scientific. And invisible. Chapter 4, Japan, the first to fall. Japan will come terrifyingly close to being erased from the map. This wasn't a prediction. It was a warning, stark, unforgiving, issued by 2062. He claimed he had witnessed it unfold. When World War III begins, he said, Japan will be hit first. And it won't just suffer. It will be broken. But why Japan? A nation without nuclear weapons. A people who have embraced peace for generations. A country whose military exists solely for self-defense. Why would Japan be targeted? 2062 didn't offer a clear answer. But in one of his final messages, he wrote, "Japan's strategic location, wedged between rival powers, will turn it into a chessboard. Not a player." And the image he painted was devastating. Coastal cities destroyed overnight. No clear enemy, only drifting clouds of poison from the sea. Hospitals overwhelmed. Early warning systems paralyzed, no one knew what they were fighting. The Japanese people wouldn't die from bombs. They would die from confusion and despair. Their land, water, and air, everything once familiar, would turn against them. Cities would become ghost towns. Villages, abandoned. And the entire nation would fall into silence. But the most frightening part wasn't the physical devastation. 2062 made it clear. This isn't just the collapse of infrastructure. It's the breakdown of society. A modern, civilized nation, reduced to refugees. His final vision of Japan. Lines of civilians, solemn and quiet, fleeing their homeland. Not knowing where they were going. Only knowing one thing. To stay behind, was to die. Is this a destiny carved in stone? Or a future that can still be rewritten, if we choose to listen? Chapter 5, Signs of Truth, When Prophecy Aligns with Reality. A prophecy without proof is just a story. But what happens when the story starts coming true? In 2011, 2062 issued a simple, cryptic warning. Run to the mountains. 4 months later, Japan shook. The 9.0 magnitude Tohoku earthquake struck. A tsunami followed, swallowing entire towns. A nuclear facility melted down. And the world watched as Japan was brought to its knees. In 2016, he said he would return on May 17th. On May 16th, an earthquake struck Ibaraki, just outside Tokyo. 3 appearances. 3 disasters. Not late. Not early. Exact. But that wasn't the end. Before disappearing for good, 2062 left behind 2 final messages. 1. On July 4, 2025, a massive earthquake will strike off the coast of Japan. 2. In 2024, a major event will occur. And from that point forward, the future will never return to what it was. Now, we've lived through 2024. And if you look closely, hasn't the prophecy quietly come true? 2024 became the hottest year in recorded human history. Superstorms tore across continents. Oh, Typhoon Yagi devastated Asia. Oh, Hurricane Milton ravaged the U.S. Oh, flash floods drowned communities in Afghanistan. Conflicts escalated across the Middle East, the South China Sea, and Eastern Europe. Whispers of leaked chemical weapons began to surface. And perhaps most disturbingly, oh, anonymous files emerged on the dark web. Oh, claiming biochemical field testing linked to the year 2025. The terrifying part isn't that the prophecy might be right. It's that we were warned, and ignored it. 2062 never begged to be believed. He never asked for worship or praise. He simply appeared, left his message, and vanished. And maybe what scares us most isn't that the prophecy was real, but that we knew, and did nothing. If the quake of July 4, 2025 really happens, if chemical weapons shift from rumor to reality, if war doesn't knock on the door, but seeps through the air we breathe, will we still call this fiction? Chapter 6, The Deeper Fear. Are we afraid of the prophecy, or of change itself? Behind every warning left by the one who called himself 2062, there may lie a message deeper than any prediction. Not meant to frighten us. Not meant to confuse us. But perhaps, meant to wake us up. There's something we rarely admit. We don't fear prophecies because they might be wrong. We fear them because they might be right. We mock doomsayers not because they sound crazy, but because if they're telling the truth, then everything we know, everything we take for granted, must change. And change is what we fear most. Let's be honest. We know about climate collapse, yet we consume like tomorrow doesn't matter. We see the rise of global conflict, but we call it someone else's war. We hear whispers of biological experiments, of chemical weapons in the wrong hands, of military escalation hiding in plain sight. But then, we scroll, we swipe, we move on. So what if 2062 was right? What if 2025 isn't just another year, but the pivot into something irreversible? Will we be ready? Or will we keep ignoring the knock until the door finally breaks down? A prophecy is not a curse. It is a choice. Not to see the future, but to act in the present. No one can stop the storm, but who we choose to hold hands with in the storm, that changes everything. Final journal entry of Jean Dixon. Perhaps, in the end, 2062 wasn't telling us war is coming, but rather, don't wait for it to come before you start to care. Chapter 7, The Final Message, When the Future Knocks on the Present. He never came back. No new posts. No cryptic codes. No messages. Just silence. After delivering his final warning about the year 2025, 2062 disappeared from the internet completely. No trace. No follow-up. Nothing. As if he was never here. As if his mission was complete. But maybe that mission is only just beginning. Because the most frightening part isn't his silence. It's the eerie alignment between his warnings and what's now unfolding all around us. A world growing more divided by the day. Chemical and biological weapons, no longer whispers, but reality. Climate events surpassing every record in human history. And signals, not just from the earth and oceans, but from within ourselves. Signs that something has shifted. And then we realize the future we thought was far away is no longer 2062. It is here. It is now. It is 2025. No one knows what will happen on July 4th. No one can say for certain if war is imminent. But one thing is clear. We can no longer say we weren't warned. If the prophecy is true, then every small action today matters. And if it's false, then at least we learn to listen, to question, and to prepare. You don't have to believe in the man from the future. But maybe you need to start living as if the future is being written by your choices today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through shadows and warnings, through mysteries we cannot yet explain. And if you've made it this far, there's one last question only you can answer. Am I ready for tomorrow? And if the answer is still, I'm not sure, then remember this. The future waits for no one.